Media. And now we're going to joining me shortly will be brother Salman Khan, and he put out a message that says, "Dear all, with your du'as, the Darul Uloom Ravia Ilyas Magaliesburg has finally completed and now open for enrollment for HIFS classes. We prefer to enroll orphans or financial distressed students." And he says boarding and lodging are available in learning areas will be Hibs, Alim for beginners, Imamat course, Kirat, Sabah, 7 Kirat, Fiqh, Tajweed. So I remember on Salam Media, he was interviewed a couple of years ago regarding the vision and the reason behind starting this Darul Uloom. Land was then purchased with the intention of opening Darul Uloom in Magaliesburg. So, Alhamdulillah, I was so pleased when I read this correspondence from Brother Salman Khan to say, finally, um, so the vision has been completed. The intention, the Darul Uloom is now open, and they're looking to start this year, 2022. So we have him joining us on the line to discuss the the opening of the Darul Uloom, and have they opened, and what is it like, how many students they have, and it's so let's welcome brother let's welcome brother Salman Khan. So brother Salman also wears many hats, in that he's also the founder and chairman of the Kashmir Global Movement as well. And I think it's a busy time for brother Salman as well, because they've put out an appeal to the Muslim Ummah as well for the economic boycott agenda for India. And all of us have joined the freedom fight for Muslims of Kashmir, just as India has caused war and devastation the people of Kashmir and all Muslims and minorities in India. And he says, please be an economic soldier for Kashmir and wage an economic war against Modi and his ethnic cleansing. Thus is fifth generation war. India is in economic crisis, and they're calling on to boycott everything India. So we're going to also chat to him about this boycott, and in terms of this campaign as well. So we just let's just welcome brother Salman Khan on the line. Assalamu alaikum, brother Salman, and welcome to Salam Media.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Bibi Mariam, and all the beautiful listener of your Islam Media radio station. Yes, I vividly remember that you done my interview. I think you done it last 2 years ago, and then also follow up last year sometime mid-year. And now we are here for the project has been completed with your du'as, Allah Ta'ala Karam, and I'm so delighted to inform you that we are now fully operational.
Yes, and I was so pleased when I read your correspondence that was put on in terms of it's open, because I remember interviewing you and it was just a vision and the land had been purchased. So tell me, is it fully established? What has been done? What buildings, the structures have been put up, and what's still left to do?
Okay, great, excellent. If you recall our conversation, that this farm is in Hartbeesfontein, which is 75 kilometers from Johannesburg, northern suburb, and that is less from the south of Johannesburg and west of Johannesburg. From the Azadville, I think is only 40 kilometers, and from Pretoria is around 60 kilometers. It is in the small valley of Hartbeesfontein, which is hosting between the two mighty mountains of Magaliesburg and Witwatersrand in Magaliesburg. And it is a beautiful, very scenic, the farm. And we are very blessed. One window you open, you see the Magaliesburg mountain. The one window you open of the masjid, you see, mashallah, the Witwatersrand. And so it's a beautiful place. But it is a Darul Uloom with a difference. First, let me give you a little bit of a history. The Darul Uloom name is Darul Uloom Ravia Ilyas. And why it is called Darul Uloom Ravia Ilyas? In 2017, my young, only 18-year-old, beautiful, my niece was passed away with the illness of the leukemia, and she had a blood, the cancer. And in her name and my father's name, Ilyas, I dedicated this farm. The farm is we are very blessed. The farm used to be belonged to Hakim Yusuf Barhoum, who was a very well-known Hakim of South Africa. Then I took it over in 2013, done some small business. But outbuildings that I have, three of them, one of the outbuilding was a school, which was built in 1910. And of course, it's 100-year old. It's still the building structure is very strong, but it needs to be done a lot of renovation. It took me to convert into the Darul Uloom. Alhamdulillah, we have a masjid which can take up to 75 people. We have a library which is 70 square meter. Then we have dormitory which can accommodate 50 students living, and then of course the Imam quarter plus the kitchen and the your toilets and other facilities. The farm is only 2 hectares and is blessed with 110 olive trees and rest of the other things. So it is a very unique setting, and anybody who would like to study there, they will be able to concentrate and very close to the nature. And if one has to visit, I'll send you the small short clips of the video, which you can put onto your website.
Well, we've got a picture here online for those. We've taken it from the website, a beautiful picture with beautiful trees, and that we've got the structure that we've put on as well.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. You can share with you. There's a small short video you can put onto your website. So when I say, Bibi Mariam, that there was no new structure, was if we just renovated the whole thing with an intention to convert the whole plot. The whole idea is behind it is a self-sustainable project. So we have a small vestibule tunnel. We got the borehole. We have converted now. We're putting up these solar panels and also the chicken poultry farm, mini chicken poultry farm, a small kraal for the sheep and goat and cow, and also the what you call it a small vestibule tunnel, hydroponic and aquaponic. So everything within the area of the operation will be completely coming out, growing from the farm. So we will not be getting anything out of the farm, inshallah ta'ala. And students will be privileged, not only learning the Hifz classes, Alim classes, and Imamat, Qiraat, and Fiqh, but they also will be understanding how to do or set up a small hydroponic, aquaponic, the vegetable tunnels, how to do the small poultry farming, how to run the cow and goat and sheep upraising, plus, of course, the ICT center with the help of, inshallah ta'ala, Sia Fando will be also teaching our, the young alims, inshallah ta'ala, with the digital, so it will be a blended learning for them as well. So partly it will be, the syllabus will be delivered through onto their laptops with the help of the LMS learning management system. And then, of course, face-to-face classes and Qiraat and the HIFZ classes by the Muslim who we have appointed, mashallah. We have Hafiz Qari, Hassan Juma Sahab, who is going to be, the main ustad and the principal of. So it is with a different, not all the other Darul Uloom have a different. We will be, when our graduates after the HIFZ classes or Alim classes finishing, they will be embedded with the knowledge of agriculture, aquaponic, hydroponic, ICT, management skills, and some sort of a tourism, because it's a very heavily attraction area of the tourism. So when our Alim and Hafiz and Alim will be finishing, they will be going with a vocational qualification. We're also looking to bring it in some sort of a carpentry and as well as the welding classes. So they will be leaving with a lot of vocational qualification as well as the ilm and the Islamiyat.
I'm so pleased to hear that they'll be upskilled, and it's a very holistic program as well, because that's what Islam is, a complete way of life. Everything we do and working the ground in becoming self-sufficient, those are part of the Islamic way of life, in terms of this working with the land, working with nature, and that. So this is indeed a holistic program that will upskill the graduates in all domains, in terms of, like you say, deen and dunya, and they then can go and become self-sufficient and open up such academies as this in the future, and continue, and this will be a positive cycle. So, Brother Salman, for now, are you only focusing on creating opportunity for children that find themselves in difficult circumstances, or parents that cannot afford education for their children, or maybe children that are yatim orphan, or you are then going to open it up to anybody? I mean, those that can pay their way to come here, but because they want to be upskilled in this way here, will they then be able to study at your institution?
Very good question. Well, I mean, of course, the top priority is because it's about, we're looking at anybody who is financially challenged and orphans. That is our top priority. But our place is open for anybody and everybody. We are only taking at the moment male. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll look into the female, the registration inshallah ta'ala in the later part of the year. And we're looking at the minimum age of between 10 to 12. And yes, so we open for any type of enrollment if somebody can afford and want to pay. Yes, jazakallah. But if not, then of course, inshallah ta'ala, we will be providing the full sponsorship for the learning.
And brother Salman, so the dormitories, everything has been set up here for the children to come and board, lodging, meals, everything provided.
Everything fully. Once you are there, once you come in, we will provide you with everything. The food, your boarding and total full. The comprehensive boarding and lodging, and your all the education.
Okay. And if somebody would like to contribute and assist in terms of funding or the zakat funds or lillah or sadqa funds towards this, can they find those details on your website or on Facebook, or how
Yes,
do they
it is.
connect with you?
Okay, you can, if you want me to, I can give you my WhatsApp number. They can
Do you
send you
have
the voice mail or
like a Facebook page, or is there a Instagram page where they
we
can connect
busy.
you?
We busy at the moment developing, but of course, if you can kindly place the small promo that I have sent you on your website, they can link and read. And then on the end of it, there is a banking detail available
Okay, so
and
what
my
I'll do is
WhatsApp number.
I'll ask shortly my producer to put out the banking details from that promo. Um from that promo, they'll put the banking details, while I chat to you about that the Kashmir initiative will get them to put out the banking details.
Yes, you can do that. Can I give my cell phone number? If
Put out those
somebody wants to contact me,
banking details, and whoever needs your mobile number, they can connect to us off air.
Jazakallah, no
Okay.
problem at
So
all.
now, part two of this. So we capitalizing having you here on air. So I came across on social media a posting. I don't know if it's a new post. It says Muslim Ummah economic boycott agenda for India. So is this a new call, or is this an old post that's now circulating again?
Maybe Mariam, it is a new call, a renewed call, because for the last few years under the leadership of a Modi, and we must not forget the Modi has rose to the power from the ashes, from the dark ashes of the Gujarat massacre, and then Hindu fundamentalists or the RSS and BJP, those who put him in office with a one sole agenda that India not to be any longer have a pluralistic society. It becomes singular society. It doesn't belong to any more the glorification of India as a secular and all inclusive where the Muslim, Hindu, and Christian can be. As you can see, that there's been a lynching of Muslims, Christians, uh, Jews, you name it. And also, of course, the after biggest recipient of this onslaught is the Muslim. And because we have quite a bit of Muslims, over 300,000, 3 million Muslims living in India. So it is the biggest recipient of all the atrocities are the Muslim. Whether it is in Kashmir, whether it is in Gujarat, whether it is in Assam, they are the one. But India is no longer is the what used to be the idols of Gandhi and Nehru, a country where everybody live, enjoy the freedom of speech and freedom of religion is no longer the cases. And there are, recent news and the reports coming from their Congress, RSS Congress, that they are looking to genocide. They are encouraging the radical groups within the BJP, RSS, that they should actually learn the lesson from Rohingya and carry out the similar genocide of the Muslims in this country. If they want to live, either they live with the Hinduism or they leave the country. And so freedom of expression has been curtailed, and Kashmir has been always been the recipient of the most aggressive stance from the Indian government under the pretext of their, they call it integral part, but of course it is not. It is an illegal occupation. So whatever we've been doing as a Muslim community to put a pressure on a Jewish lobby or Zionist rather to deal with the Palestine issue, we need to look at it in holistically. And we said, you know what, look what's happening to our brother and sister in India, and they have been oppressed. Yes, we are living in South Africa. We have a freedom of expression, even though South Africa is a Christian country, but we have full liberty of performing namaz and salah and Qurbani, and we have been given a full protection. But the same things not allowed in India. I mean, now if you look at it in India, not talking about only the Kashmir, India, you have the discrimination against the Muslim. If you carry the Muslim name, you are not allowed to get into the civil. That used to be before lower caste. Achut, they will never make into the corporate business or any big position because they come from the lower caste. Now, during the time, the last 4 or 5 years, exactly the same thing has been turned around the Muslims. So if you're a Muslim graduate, you will not be able to find a managerial position, or you will not be able to progress to the top of the ladder of any corporate. So unfortunately, it is our responsibility to join and send a strong message from all part of the world, especially from South Africa, because we have the one of the largest Indian diaspora community, with 3.5 million living anywhere else than South Africa. So we need to send a very strong message by showing the economic might of a Muslim community, because our Muslim cash and carries and Muslim importer, they are one of the biggest importer of basmati rice and other products from, and especially some of the healthcare products.
But
So we
Brother
need to.
Salman, that's where the contention lies, because I mean, what alternate we have there? Because I mean, at the moment, if we cut off those ties in terms of importing from India, it's going to have a impact on those very businesses in a difficult economic climate. And as you say, I mean, rice is a staple of the Indians here, and the Indian products and things like that. So is there another way that we could do this? Because I was just thinking about half the businesses in just this locality in the Mayfair Fordsburg area. I mean, a lot of their products come directly from India, and if they were to cut those ties, what's going to happen then to their businesses in that term? What alternate is your movement providing for them?
Okay, very good question. Very, very good question. You remind me when I was doing a program like you doing it, and I was pushing for the boycott Israel, for because everybody who import or consume coke is like you putting a one more bullet into the Israeli soldier. That was a 2000, after the onslaught on the Israelis on the Palestinian. Somebody called me, your surname sake, called Isaac Mia, Marhum Isaac Mia, and he said, you need to understand there's many people who buy and sell coke, and they are Muslim wholesale. They will be, jeopardize their livelihood. And he had a good point. He said, why don't we buy and use the profit of made from the coke and give it to the Palestinian cause? So one, he gave me example. Then a lot of people was listening, and they come and say, why don't we create an alternative product like a coke, that we don't have to buy the coke? So then that was the birth of a Koi and Twiza. The two very big name, Koi and Twiza, was come in place, and of course Kingsley, that is another alternative. But the Koi and the Twiza was born out of that. That what is alternatives? So after listening to this interview, many people will be thinking that do we really need to bring all the herbal product from India, or there is alternative? Yes, Indonesia and Malaysia is having a huge amount of the new, very latest technology that is coming from there. And you know what? Sometimes we need to select or see what is important for us is economic gain or the basmati rice, then our blood of our brother and sister India. But I'm saying we have nothing against India. What we have a huge problem with their persecution, their marginalization of the Muslims in India. And we need to stand up like the way we say we have no problem with the Jewish, but we have a problem with the Zionists. And exactly the same thing is happening in India. And we need to stand up with the brother and sister and the minority and send a strong message. We are very happy that you continue to progress, you continue to grow, and we as an Indian, we want to support you. But it cannot become at the cost of persecution, illegitimate, the carteling of the Muslims in the job, as well as now lynching and raping. And now recently there was a website that has been discovered that the Muslim woman was auctioned online.
Yes,
So we thought to
that
send a
has been
very
trending.
strong message.
Mhm. So, okay, so brother Salman, your movement is calling on boycotting Indian products. Let's see how that goes. And in terms of, as you've said, maybe local businessmen, yeah, importers should be looking further far east to Malaysia and Indonesia in terms of cosmetic products, toiletries, the ones that we as an alternate, and maybe look for rice to maybe like countries like Pakistan, Thailand, and even in Indonesia, Malaysia, until such time that things are improving in not only Kashmir but for the Muslims in India as well. I've put down the banking details of Darul Uloom Ravia Ilyas as well here, so it's on our Facebook page as well, and it will be on Salam Media YouTube. Brother Salman, thank you for joining us. Inshallah, one day when I'm down in that area, I will contact you in advance and would love to really come and visit the Darul Uloom as well as look at the agricultural setup that you have.
Jazakallah khair. It will be a greatest pleasure to have your team visiting and being maybe a live program, inshallah, because we will do the inauguration end of January. Proper officials, we will invite you. Just a last small insertion and a tip that this boycott will open up a door for many people, those who have plenty of the money in South Africa and they are the importers. Why not create an industry, cottage industry, to take things that we're importing from not only from India, but anywhere else? Because if you look at the Indian product or anybody even from Malaysia, raw material is going from South Africa. Plenty of the herbal raw material is. So it is an opening for small industries, an opening of a manufacturing sector that whatever the product that we've been importing traditionally from overseas, start producing in South Africa.
Shukran, Brother Salman Khan, and hopefully we can chat to you in the future. And yes, looking forward, maybe we can connect and do something at your official opening at Darul Uloom Ravia Ilyas. Shukran for joining us here in Mid Morning Talk on Salam Media.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, talking education from Mariam Mia's perspective to help us ready for Wednesday's opening for schools. If you are listening and you are in inland and for coastal provinces, you still have a week of R&R until you resume schools. This year they've had it staggered. So all this after the break.